Welcome back. Two series are tied now. Philadelphia won against the Heat to tie their series up 2-2, and now Dallas and the Mavericks also tied up their series 2-2 against the Sun. Let's talk about the Sixers first. Uh, Big part of this game, obviously. James Harden looked like the best he's ever looked since coming on the Sixers, other than the first few games where he was really good, but this is definitely his best game of the playoffs. 31 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. He had an amazing fourth quarter, 16 points. He hit like 4 threes. It felt like back to back to back. Obviously, it wasn't, but he hit 4 big threes in the fourth. And he really looked like himself, man. He was really aggressive, but like he was not doing too much with the dribbling. He was just doing enough to get his shot off. And I really appreciated that because obviously he doesn't have the same first step as he used to, but he was just doing what he could, and it was effective in the fourth quarter. Obviously, scoring 16 points is a huge deal. With Joel being there, it made this game and the last game a whole lot easier for James. It opened it up because when Joel wasn't there, James was the best player on the court for the Sixers, so he was obviously getting double teamed, triple teamed. But with Joel there, it really, you really got to focus on Joel as well. So, he had a big game as well, 24 and 11 rebounds. Danny Green, 3 out of 4, 75%. That's also huge for them. But it's mainly just James Harden in this game, and also guys like Georges Niang also hit some of his threes. So, and Tyrese didn't have the most huge his game, but he was still effective as well. For the Heat, it was a real stinker for everybody except Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was amazing in this game. I would say his footwork when he was driving into the paint, just a lot of hesitation moves and just really good footwork on that pivot, getting shots in the mid-range and the rim. He was amazing in this game. 40 points, 65%. You can't ask for much more. Bam was decent in this game scoring wise, but I don't know. I just don't think that he's as aggressive as he can be right now. But there's some real stinkers. Kyle Lowry, obviously, greatest Raptor of all time, had a huge stinker in this game. He missed all his 3-pointers, pretty bad. Victor Oladipo, also pretty bad. And Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is really their offense because oftentimes they don't have much offense. I don't know, their half-court offense is really, it can get very stagnant at points, and Jimmy is like the only guy there that can create a shot for himself. So you have like PJ Tucker like waiting for a shot. So it's not like he's going to make something out of nothing. So Tyler Hero is their guy off the bench who needs to create shots and offense for himself and a little bit for others, but just open up the game a bit more. And today he just wasn't. 4 out of 12, 1 out of 5 from 3, just wasn't playing very well at all. But yeah, now this series is tied 2-2. Honestly, it's anybody's series. Joel has looked pretty decent since coming back. Like, even though he was injured and he has the mask on and all that stuff, his presence on the floor has really helped open up the game for everybody on the Sixers. So going back to Miami, the Miami Heat are really going to have to come out with a strong game plan. I mean, game 5 is one of the most important games in the series that isn't game 7. So whoever wins this one has a real chance of winning the series. I like the chances of, honestly, the 76ers because just the shooting on the Heat has been pretty abysmal. And they had a lot of open looks, but they just weren't hitting them. So you could say that might change when they go back home. But I don't know. I like how the Sixers seem to be rolling right now. If James can even play, he doesn't have to play this well, but if he plays like 25 points, which he, averaging 25 points for the rest of the series, I think they can get it done. And I would hope so for their sake that they can get it done because losing the second round, they don't want to do that anymore. They definitely have to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals to justify this trade and, everything that they've done so far. Suns and Mavericks. Dallas wins at home to maintain home court. Honestly, this game wasn't Luka that won this game. It was everyone else. Mostly, I would say Dorian Finney-Smith hitting 8 threes. They really needed that, and Davis Bertans as well, hitting 4 out of 6 threes. I think he hit like 4 out of 5 in the first quarter. Dallas just came out super hot from three. They hit 20, 45%. When you hit 20 threes, you have a good chance of winning the game. And Luka didn't have his best shooting performance at all. 1 out of 10 from three, 36% overall. But Jalen Brunson stepped up as well. He was driving to the paint a lot. And, Spencer Dinwiddie didn't have the greatest game ever, but he at least contributed enough. In the first two games that the Suns won, they really let Luka do his thing and kind of closed out on everybody else, which led to Luka having like 45 points in the first game, but it still ended up in a loss. These past two games, Luka has been defended like much harder, but he's obviously an amazing passer. He had 11 assists today. He's able to find guys quite easily, and that just led to everyone else on the team performing really well. And defensively, they've been, I wouldn't say locking down, but Chris Paul, especially these past two games, has been horrendous. Speaking of Chris Paul, he fouled out in this game, only played 23 minutes. Had a lot of turnovers too. Oh, he only had 2 this game, but just overall, he hasn't been playing well the last 2 games. Reggie Bullock has been bothering him, and this game, I would say, there was definitely a bunch of like silly fouls. Like there was that one foul at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the first half, where he got when there was like 0.1 seconds left, and it's like you don't need to get that foul. But for the rest of the team, the Suns, Booker played well, had 35 points. But you need a little bit more from Mikal Bridges. Jay Crowder played okay, but especially DeAndre Ayton, since the Mavericks have been having this 5-out offense, they haven't played Dwight Powell very much. They've been playing a lot of Maxi Kleber, and he's a shooter. Like in the last series against the Jazz, he was shooting the skin off the ball. And with their 5-out offense, it's really pulling Ayton out of the paint. And I just feel like the Suns have to capitalize on Ayton being the biggest guy out there and like just trying to give him the ball as much as possible when this 5-out offense for the Dallas is out, so they can maximize, how much he can score when he has a bunch of little dudes on him. Like he had 14 points and 11 rebounds. He to me, he's like the X factor overall for the Suns for them to perform and to win the championship. I'd say he needs to have a bigger role offensively because he's a very skilled big man, but I just feel like they're not putting him always in the greatest positions to succeed. Other points, Cameron Payne, 1 of 5. He was really bad. And with Chris Paul being out for a lot of this game sitting, they really needed Cameron Payne to step up as the backup point guard. He did not. I think Devin Booker needs to be the point guard when something like this happens to Paul, because he's played a lot of point guard even this season when Paul was out, and he's good at it. So I just think they need to, it might be asking too much out of him, but at this point in the series, like it's 2-2, you have to win the 2 out of the last 3 games, obviously. And I think the Suns losing in the second round would just be horrendous for them. It would really taint their really good season that they've had so far, and I don't want that for them. But like right now, the Mavericks are rolling. They're making a ton of shots, and you just gotta have to put an end to that. I think defensively, they just have to play better. Obviously, nobody can super guard Luka, but they have to be better at closing out and not letting Dorian Finney-Smith get like that hot. 8 out of 12. That's insane. They just have to be better. And also like shooting, 9 out of 25 for them. They didn't shoot very well. But yeah, I just think for both of these series, it's kind of anybody's series now because it's like a 3-game series. But I would still pick my picks of Suns and Philadelphia. But it's going to be tough for both teams to, they really got to prove the Suns really got to prove that that they are the number one team in the league, and Chris Paul has to be better. This is an unacceptable game. He can't get in that foul trouble anymore. And in the last game where he had like 7 turnovers, he can't do that. That's the exact opposite of what Chris Paul is. So, he just has to be better. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.